Hello, dear students. Welcome to the Bajirao IS Academy. Today is 7th December and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So, in today's session, we have to discuss two important articles. Number one is related to US China relationship. We know that the relationship between two countries is not good. But when we talk about their historical relation, it was very, very good. Even these two countries were cooperating to each other in terms of trade, in terms of security, in terms of technology transfer. But when China started rising, the US hegemony started to be challenged by the China, and hence US and the relation between the China and the US started to deteriorate. So we will understand that how the relations was impacted and can this relationship can be improved. Okay, so we will analyze in that angle. Now we will shift to the second article, and it is related to the role of parliamentary committee. Okay, although I discussed many articles about the parliamentary committee, the ethics committee, the privilege committee, but some important points we are going to analyze here. Okay, so this is very very important topic because you can track this importance from the previous year paper, whether it is from the prelims point or the mains point. Okay, so now we are shifting to the article discussion, and the first article you can relate with GS paper 2. Okay, so when we talk about the present relationship between US and China, it is not good. Okay, how? So you can see and you can observe as well that when the recent Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit held in Washington, the US president called the Chinese president as dictator. So can you believe this type of bold statement in front of the Chinese leader? Okay, but here the China wanted to establish the relationship again. Hence, Chinese statement from their side was not much disturbing. So this reflects that how much issue of the relationship is going on between these two countries. Okay, and in this Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, both countries also wanted that the relationship should be established again, but there was some conditions put forwarded by the US president. Okay, and we will understand the agreements that the US wanted, but let's discuss some brief points about the US China relationship with respect to the history. Okay, so when we talk about the historical perspective, in 1979, the diplomatic relationship between China and the US was established. And after that, the relation was very much prominent between them. Both were contributing to each other economy, boosting the trade, and not only that, with respect to the Taiwan. Okay, you know that China believes that Taiwan is an integral part of their country. Okay, and any intrusion by any outsider nation trying to affect their relationship, so it will challenge that country. And we have numerous statements from the Chinese about this issue. Okay, but you know that US under its one China policy also recognizes Taiwan as a part of China, but also gives Taiwanese a security prospectus so that the autonomous status given to the Taiwan with respect to the democratic institution, with respect to the liberal economy, okay, should not be affected. Okay, and hence you can observe that when we talk about China and Taiwan, so although it is a part of Chinese territory, but there is a autonomous policy enjoyed by the Taiwan in terms of the democratic system or the liberal economy. Okay, so there is important point of contention here between the US and China relationship, that US tries to provide the security, and like you can observe that Taiwan is the nerves of the China, and US knows better, and hence they try to influence the nerves by making a statements or in that manner. Okay, so that is the perspective, and that is the relationship if gets affected do gets visible in these areas. Okay, so we have discussed the basics, hope you understood. And tell me about the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation and whether India is member of APEC or not, and if not, then why India is not a member. Okay, so when we talk about the recent meetings of APEC in the Washington, so what the meet accomplished? So number one, both the nation talked about to restore the military to military communication, which was withheld by the China due to the visit of the former US a speaker of House of Representative Nancy Pelosi. Okay, and that's why China was very much like uh, aggressive on this matter, and hence they also try to showcase this aggression with respect to the military exercise, the aerial exercise in the South China Sea and nearer to the Taiwanese water body. Okay, so this was the reflection. And what is the significance of military to military communication? You should understand that when this relationship was there, so any Chinese military actions or even the exercise that was carried on, so the US military was well informed. Okay, and hence let's say this is the Pacific Ocean. Okay, and this is the Chinese military ship. Okay, and if this was the relationship existing between US and China, so China will inform the US military that my vessel is coming to this water body, so don't take any action or don't try to suspense about this vehicle. Okay, this ship. So US will not do harm to this ship. But let's say if this military communication dethroned. Okay, so what is happening? Like any military ship that will visit to the Pacific, I am saying for the example. Okay, or let's say even the US ship is visiting to the Chinese territorial water or the South China Sea, so there will be assumption that this can be danger to their country. Okay, and hence both the country can destroy these assets as well. So that's why the regular military to military communication was very important. Okay, and this was started in 1998, which is critical to prevent potentially catastrophic miscalculation. Okay, and we have already talked to you about the other issue like the contention over Taiwan. Okay, and you can observe that Taiwan is the nerves of China, and US better knows how to control the nerves of the Chinese by controlling the Taiwan. Okay, and we know about the US China, one China policy. Okay, but this one China policy of US also grants some extra security to the Taiwan for their autonomous democratic institution and autonomous economy. Okay, so that's the point, and hence China sometimes becomes very aggressive against US. Okay, so this relation we are seeing that there is more conflict than the cooperation, and hence the relation is degrading, and it is far declining as compared to the previous times when the relation was up to the mark, whether it is the economy, whether it is the trade, whether it was the investment or the technology transfer. Okay, and there is another issues which is being faced between the US and the China relationship, which is related to the trade dispute. Okay, So once upon a time, the trade between these two countries was very much huge. Okay, and the US was also dependent on the products, on the raw materials of the China. But now US understands that if there will be more dependency, so there can be a challenge to our security as well. Okay, so the US has started to banning Chinese company. Okay, and you can observe the recent TikTok which was banned for the national security, and also some of the startups of artificial intelligence. Okay, so it was also banned to enter into the US or to provide technology. Okay, so this is going on. So what does it reflects? That US is much more like aggressive to compel China to come and balance, rather rise. Okay, rather rise at the top of the US. Okay, and you can see here US banned exports of advanced computer chips for the manufacture of semiconductors. Okay, and also prohibiting US investments in the high tech arena or the high tech sectors. Okay, like communication sectors, artificial intelligence related sectors. So investment is also getting restricted. Okay, and we know that Chinese economy is mostly based on the export. Okay, and if the outsider company is not like calling Chinese products into their territory, the economy of the China will be like not in the better position. Okay, and hence China's economic condition is not good nowadays, we are seeing. Okay, and that's why China is needed the help of US, and hence the China wants to enhance the cooperation with the US. Okay, and again with the similar action done by the US, so China also did some sort of the action that further deteriorated the relationship, like restricting the exports of gallium and germanium export. Okay, and these are the raw materials which is used in the production of microchips as well as the weapon system. Along with China is like a bigger producer of graphite, and they also export. And when we talk about importance of graphite, so these are very important mineral for the electric vehicle battery, for the manufacture of these battery. Okay, and if there is a curb, so the supply chain of the graphite will be blocked, and US can face the crisis of availability. Okay, so that is the action being taken, but this is not good at all as per the article, because this like degrades the cooperation between two major world power. Okay, and this can affect the other nation as well, the supply chain as well. Okay, and also in this article there is a statement that it is like US approach to sort up the global hegemony that they had maintained since the past. Okay, and at the same time China also want to rise, and to rise there is a need to challenge the hegemony itself, and hence China is also challenging the hegemony of the US. Okay, to rise at the level of military as well as technological supremacy. But the important point to note that these two countries needs to coexist definitely. Okay, and for the coexistence cooperation is needed. Okay, rather doing disengagement or decoupling. Okay, the de-risking between the two countries is far more important than disengagement or decoupling. Okay, hope you understood this article. Now we are shifting to the next editorial, and it is related to GS paper 2. Okay, although we have talked about many articles regarding the ethics committee, the privilege committee. If you hadn't watched that series, you can watch. Okay, and when we talk about the importance of parliamentary committee, so you know that parliament is comprised of the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, and overall we have the president. But president is not a member of Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha, but it is a part of parliament. He or she is a part of parliament. Okay, so what is the importance of parliament? If we ask you a question, you know that parliament is like a temple of democracy. Okay, and in the temple of democracy, the laws are being framed, and also the important matter, the public matter, is discussed. Okay, and let's say we have the opposition in the house. Okay, and if the government does wrong, so the opposition can ensure the accountability of the executive or the government. Okay, so these are some important feature of parliament. But when we talk about parliamentary committee, so remember that not every work will be done by the parliament, because parliament has limited session. Okay, they does not meet all the time 24 into 7 into 365. Okay, and also there is higher workload, hence they are assisted by parliamentary committee. Okay, and we have lots of committee in the parliament. It can be ethics committee, it can be the finance committee in the form of like estimates committee, public account committee. Okay, and committee of the public enterprises. Okay, so these are committee which has been segregated to perform the segregated tasks. Okay, but here our focus is about the ethics committee, because this committee was in news very prominently because of the Mahua Moitra, uh, uh, who is a TMC like a member. Okay, from West Bengal. Okay, and the ethics committee recommended expulsion of her. Okay, due to the ask sorry cash for query question. Okay, and you know the background. I am not going into detail, but I am trying to make you understand that here the recommendation which was given by the ethics committee to expel from the house, okay, based on the unethical conduct. Okay, so in the constitution the term unethical is not defined. So unethical, any act will be unethical or not will be decided by the ethics committee. Okay, so that's the point. And there is other committee that deals with certain issue related to these type of breach of privilege. We have the privilege committee, and kindly know about this committee in detail. Okay, so when we talk about the privilege committee, why this committee was set up, it was all because like members enjoy the privilege when they are in the house, they can speak in the house. Okay, and there will be no proceedings against the member. So these are the privilege. But let's say the privilege is breached by the member, so there is a need to have action on that member, otherwise the privilege breach will become common. So action is needed, and who will decide that whether a member breached their privilege or not? So we have the privilege committee. Okay, you can also say the special inquiry committee that also examines the serious accusations against the member, okay, regarding the breach of privilege. So in the past this committee, okay, also recommended expulsion of various member. Like in 2007 we have an incident that an AMP who brought a woman to the parliament, and tell that this woman is his wife. Okay, so the privilege committee was set up, and the committee recommended the expulsion of the member. Okay, so when we talk about whether the expulsion is defined in the constitution or not, no, even expulsion term is not mentioned in the constitution. So how the members of the parliament are can be removed? So we have a provisions in the constitution that is mentioned under the article 101 of the constitution. Okay, that lays down various grounds for the vacation of the seat by an MP, and that talks about voluntary resignation, like a member giving their resignation voluntary, okay, by self declaration. Okay, and either they can be disqualified, and disqualification can be based on anti defection law, okay, or the grounds which has been mentioned in the constitution, okay. And also if there is a continuous absence of the member from the house for 60 sittings without permission, without taking the permission for the absence, okay. So these are the grounds which has been mentioned, but not the expulsion. So definitely, let's say these committee recommended expulsion. So whether expulsion will be a ground for disqualification or not. So here this matter went to the Supreme Court. Okay, because these are like conflicting matters. On the one side, the committee is recommended expulsion, but on the other side, the constitution is silent about the topic expulsion. Okay, so this matter went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also have the conflicting judgments. Okay, conflicting judgment mean that in one judgment they talked about like expulsion should be treated as a part of Article 101, hence there can be a ground for disqualification. But on the another judgment, the Supreme Court like excluded expulsion as the ground for disqualification. Like we can see here, like in Rajaram Pal versus Honorable Speaker 2007 case, Supreme Court upheld the power of Parliament to expel its member for breach of privilege by interpreting, remember, by interpreting Article 101 to include expulsion as a ground. Okay, and in another judgment in 2010, like Amrinder Singh versus a special committee, Punjab Vidhan Sabha 2010, the Supreme Court held that expulsion done by the state assembly as unconstitutional. So in one judgment they are talking expulsion as unconstitutional, in the another judgment they are talking as constitutional and should be treated under Article 101 and should be qualified for the disqualification for the members. Okay, so that is the trap here. So when we talk about the expulsion, let's say if a member, if an MP get expelled, okay, from the house. So first of all, from the constituency where he or she was won the election, okay, the constituency will become vacant. Okay, so that means it is against the it goes against the democratic representation. Okay, because people from that constituency will become leaderless. Okay, until and unless the fresh election or the by election does not happens. Okay, so that's the point. And sometimes these like allegations are utilized by the members of the house like for the political reasons. Okay, and another, what the solution which has been suggested, like let's say if there is a case of privilege breach. Okay, so there is a need that we can fast track all these cases to the fast track court. Okay, and these fast track court can conduct the trials, and based on the trials report whether the member is responsible or not responsible for that breach. Okay, and based on that they can take action in the time bound manner, say 60 days. Okay, as suggested in this article. So this can be the another option. Okay, that these type of matters should be fast tracked into the fast track courts after the committee recommended all of these expulsion recommendation. Okay, and then the matter will be decided. So that's the end of the article. Hope you understood these articles in detail. And now we are ending up the session. And before that, we have the prelims question, and you can approach the prelim question by pausing the video. And this is related to the economy section. Okay, hope you enjoyed the session. And if you are liking our initiative, please do like, share, subscribe, and also share to your friend circle. Okay, thank you, friends. Thank you very much. We will meet again for the next session. Thank you.